Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been getting a lot of emails about this, so I thought that I'd do a quick video on it. Russian politician calls for nuclear strike on the United States. Should you be running around like a chicken without a head right now because of this so-called news? I would say not, but let me explain to you why not. A member of the Russian parliament recently called for his country to attack the United States with nuclear weapons during a televised appearance. He said that Americans won't come to their senses until they get hit with a nuke on their skull. This person, I'm going to try to pronounce his name, Guruliov, said that a Russian strike involving nuclear weapons was the only path forward to ensure lasting peace. He continues to say, quote, "There is no other way to talk to these fools." He said before adding that people have tried unsuccessfully to convince him otherwise. He says again, quote, "We should make plans beyond the horizon so that we know what happens in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, and 10 years, and harshly move toward this paradigm." We will win 100%, he says. Where? He says everywhere. Everywhere. And this is by far not just about the big U. He continues to say Russia was, is, and will be a great nation capable of bringing peace. Peace is the key word. We bring peace and calm. Well, in all honesty, using a nuclear exchange or using a nuclear warhead, maybe it will bring peace and calm, but not really in the way that we want it to be, right, ladies and gentlemen? Are you all worried about this? Are you all scared of this? He finishes off by saying, Biden says there would be a reaction per their Article 5. Article 5, I do believe, is when all of the NATO nations come together as one in order to fight a common enemy. But if we turn the British Isles into a Martian desert in 3 minutes flat using tactical nuclear warheads, not strategic ones, they could use Article 5, but for whom? So they're saying here that if they use nuclear warheads, that they're not going to use the conventional nuclear warheads, but tactical nuclear warheads. He finishes off by saying a non-existent country turned into a Martian desert, they won't respond. Again, ladies and gentlemen, who of you is worried about this? I know there's been a lot of talk on different channels about us having a nuclear war. And a lot of people have different opinions. Canadian Prepper, he is of the opinion that there will be a nuclear exchange. And that's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. I am of the opinion that there will not be a nuclear exchange, a conventional nuclear exchange, like regular nuclear warheads, not tactical. I could see in the horizon, I could see them using a tactical nuclear warhead on countries that are near them, but I don't see a conventional nuclear exchange occurring unless one of the NATO nations decides to do a first strike with a conventional nuclear warhead. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, it doesn't really matter what I think. And in all honesty, it doesn't really matter what the Canadian Prepper thinks or anyone else. What really matters is this. Are you prepared the best way that you can? Now, what can you do if there was a full-blown nuclear exchange throughout the world? What can you do? Let me just put it this way. What can I do? If there is a missile pointed towards Alaska, pointed right next to where I live, or pointed at a city down from where I live, at the military base, that's not that far from where I am, and this thing takes out a 20-mile radius, let's say, for example, what can I do about that? What can I do about changing the actions of people that are kind of nutty to begin with? And what do I say nutty? I don't want to say crazy, but in a way, you have to be somewhat crazy in order to use a weapon that you know yourself will take millions and millions of lives just in the first few minutes, and then more than likely will take hundreds of millions of lives in the next year or two to come because of the consequences of all of that radioactive waste. You have to be kind of nutty and crazy to even consider doing that. So why do we have nuclear weapons to begin with? They're supposed to be a deterrent, right? They were developed first and foremost in order to try to win World War II, and we all know, if we followed a little bit of history, I don't even know if they teach this anymore in high school or middle school, that we, the United States, were the first and only country to date that have ever used a nuclear warhead on another country, an enemy country, during time of war. Ladies and gentlemen, the best thing I can do about that is, first and foremost, be straight with my maker. If I look at myself in the mirror and I say, you need to fix this, you need to correct this, you're not the best person that you can be, that's the first thing that I see that I can do about it. I can be prepared. I can have all of those preps that we all think about, when we're prepared, the basic preps: water, food, water filtration system, heating, fuel, a way to cook, a way to sanitize your water. All of these things. You want to have those pills that help your thyroid against nuclear fallout or radioactive fallout. That's fine, have those. But you can only do what you can do. I don't want people to stress out over this. I don't want people to get so scared where they're living in a state of anxiety all the time. Because what's going to happen is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. And the best you can do is just be as prepared as you possibly can. But do not live your life in fear. Because I'll tell you what, right now, if a meteor came down and went through me right now, there's nothing that I can do about this. And how much is it that we as a people can do? Have you learned in the last several years? What can we, the people, do against those that make these big decisions that are in government? Is there anything that you can do about it? Is there anything that I can do about it? No, they're going to make the decisions that they make no matter what, no matter the vote, no matter who voted for them. They don't care. They're in office. They're going to do what they want to do because they have the power. And that is the bad thing about politics. That is the bad thing about putting people up there that really don't care about our country. That is the bad thing about a democracy. That we put people up there that are not interested in preserving liberty, but they're interested in preserving government. That is their job, ladies and gentlemen. I have a quick email to read to you from one of our community members that has to do with politics. But I'm not going to make it about the right or the left. It doesn't really matter. At this point in your life, do you understand that it doesn't matter whether it's the right or the left? Ladies and gentlemen, they don't care about the people. Are you prepared? And if you are prepared, why are you scared? If you do feel okay with yourself, with how you've lived your life, and something happens that's out of your control, this is 100% out of your control. You have to understand this. It doesn't matter how much we protest. It doesn't matter how much we say, we're not going to vote for you. It doesn't matter. Let them protest all they like, as long as they pay their taxes, so that we can become bigger and stronger and take over their lives. So why are you worried about this? Why are you scared about this? Why do you pay attention to this? Because do you like to be scared? Do you like how fear is used against you so that it can control you? Because that's what being scared is giving your control over to something else. In my opinion, this is a lot of propaganda. In my opinion, this is something that this gentleman said in order to scare the American people into trying to tell their government, hey, we don't want any of this. Well, guess what? There is a poll that's out there, and it's like 80-something% of the people that were polled here in the United States said, we don't want anything to do with this thing that's going on in the eastern part of Europe. We don't want anything to do with it. And I do believe that there was a poll in Europe where the people said, majority of the people, I think it was in the high 70%, that said the same thing. We don't want nothing to do with this. But are your politicians listening to you? No. Why? Because have you not learned? They don't care. Stop being scared. Get as prepared as you can possibly get prepared on a personal level. Because you can only do what you can do, but don't live your life in fear. What's going to happen is going to happen. And it doesn't matter how many bunkers you build. It doesn't matter how much food you have. If it's time for you to go home, then it's time for you to go home. But don't live your life in fear, because living your life in fear is doing nothing but giving that control to the people that are putting that fear upon you. I can go on and on, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Because I see this all the time. I get emails about these things all the time, that Russia's doing this, the US is doing that. But the fact of the matter is this: we've come to a time in our nation, in humanity, we've come to a time where humanity itself has been taken over by big government. And if you don't believe that, just ask yourself how many things during the day that you do are by policy of government. For example, let me just give you a couple of examples. Take a look and see how many laws and rules there are into making a pillow, right? By policies and regulations. Just a pillow and a mattress. Take a look at all of the regulations and policies and executive orders or whatever that there is around toothpaste or a toothbrush. Almost everything that you touch in your life has been touched by government. Is there anything that you can do about it? No. Just like this gentleman said right here, that he says something about beginning this new paradigm. We are at the end of an era, and we are at the end of this paradigm, however you want to see it. And we will be entering into a new era, i.e. paradigm. The question is are you going to be prepared to be able to make it through what it's going to cost us as humanity to shift over to that new paradigm? And if for some reason we don't make it, if for some reason I don't make it, did you do the best that you could do being a good human being during this life? Ask yourself that question. That, in my opinion, is what matters the most. Not that they're saying this or that they're saying that, but that we're living our best life. And that we're prepared just in case our time here is not done. But if your time here is done, it's done. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. And there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to change these crooked politicians. I received this email from one of our community members a couple of days ago, the last day of January. I'm going to go ahead and obviously black out any names. And I'm not even going to mention the politicians' names. All right? It doesn't really matter, ladies and gentlemen. But listen to this. I have to agree with your statement about politicians on how the ones that win get elected and why. I learned the hard way. I ran against this person as an honest, truthful individual. And for every $100 of my own money that I spent, his campaign spent $100,000 against me. He had his friends embedded in my campaign that worked against me, and I witnessed firsthand some of the illegal actions that he himself committed. He is the most corrupt individual that ever represented this state. People vote for these dishonest, corrupt individuals. They get what they deserve, and they need to stop complaining about it. It's like I've been telling you, ladies and gentlemen, what we think is real is not. When these people get in front of the camera with their nice fancy suits that probably cost more than what you make in a month, they are acting. They are actors. And the true and honest people that really love their country and love their countrymen, they don't stand a chance because the machine has gotten too big. So prepare, stay prepared, say a prayer every day, and thank God that you have been allowed another day in this great experience that we call life. And then what happens, happens. Having said that, have a great day. I want to tell you all that I love you all. And I want you to be prepared. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Just prepare the best that you can. And stop worrying about these things. Unfortunately, I stand by what I say. There's nothing that we can do to change government the way it is now. It has to collapse. And that's what I'm preparing for for when we finally shift over to a system that I hope and pray will be more just than the system by which we've been governed for the last 100 and so years. God bless you all. Have a great day. God bless America. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and it will be a better place. Many blessings to every one of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I'm out. God bless you all.